Dysphoria, defeat, depression, and distraction. Uh, Today is a very depressing Sunday. I shouldn't say very depressing because it's not like the most depressed or the most depressing, but I practically did nothing yesterday, Saturday. I watched a bunch of videos on YouTube, spent some time on Facebook. I did get my room cleaned, which was something that I promised myself to do because I had to pay myself back for drinking days before. I made an agreement with myself that if I drank alcohol, I would pay myself back somehow, whether through donating to charity or picking up garbage on the side of the highway. In this case, I just promised myself that I would clean the room where I stay. So I accomplished that yesterday. So far today, I've hardly done anything. I've spent a lot of time on YouTube, again, looking for distractions. Basically, paid a bill. That was about it. And I keep thinking about like going out to do something or accomplishing something, like working on my bus or my van or working on a painting or a song, and for whatever reason I just feel totally unmotivated. I feel defeated. I feel like trying is pointless. I feel like I don't know how else to describe it. I just don't have the it's like inertia has set in, and I just don't want to do things. I can't say that I don't want to do them, because I think if I didn't want to do them, I wouldn't think about doing them as much as I do. Things that I've been thinking about are purchasing a piece of land and building something to live in on it. I already have a kind of design in mind for what I want, and I'm not taking any steps towards that. And part of that's because of the place that I'm thinking of buying is not. It is a bit worrisome that it's not a nice neighborhood. When I say it's not nice, I just mean that it's kind of run down. There's a lot of abandoned. There's an abandoned trailer on the property. There's at least two abandoned trailers, one abandoned house, on a very short kind of driveway of a. It's not even a road. It's just like a short driveway, not even a quarter mile long, and it's kind of in a poor area. I'll put it that way. And the lot that I'm thinking about buying is at the end of the driveway, or at one end of the driveway. The driveway kind of tees, like you get off the road and it goes in two directions. And so the lot that I'm thinking about buying is at one end, which on the other side of the lot is a 26-acre woodland, which is very nice. The only problem with that is that people hunt out there, and I don't know if I want to buy a piece of property where people are going to be hunting right beside me. On top of the fact that it just seems like the kind of place where I might, someone might try to break into my dwelling. But that's one reason why I have not really taken any steps towards that. It would not be difficult for me to get a loan for that, because the land is it is a 1/4 acre lot. Sorry, 2 1/4 acre lots together being sold as one. So it's a 1/2 acre. And I actually almost bought it once. I offered them $3,000 for the two lots together, and they agreed to $3,000 for the two lots, which is super cheap. If you don't know about buying land, one of the reasons why it is super cheap is it is also in a flood zone, and that makes it, I don't want to say impossible, but not worth the money to build a house on it. So, but my plan is not to build a house on it. That is one of the reasons why I bought the bus, because the land is kind of secluded. It is out of the way. I feel like parking a bus on it as kind of like an RV should not be too much of a problem. It is also zoned for agricultural use, which means that the restrictions, there are not many restrictions on the land. And there's a part of me that feels like I should go ahead with this. There's a part of me that says this is scary, and I don't want to die. I don't want to get robbed or beat up or shot or any of that stuff. And I don't know that I will. I'm basing that kind of just on my few trips to the property to look at it. I did speak to one of the people who lived there, and he kind of suggested that if I moved there that I get a dog at least, if not a gun also. He didn't say get a gun, but he kind of I think he was about to say that, because he was saying that strange people come onto the neighborhood, and he's had to deal with like drunk people at his door who kind of wandered into the neighborhood from a bar up the street, though the bar up the street, he said, is now closed. So that was quite a derailment from what I meant to talk about, but as you can see, that is something that's on my mind. It's taking up a huge portion of my brain RAM, and I feel like I need a cushion to sit on. But, I don't know. I almost feel like the fact that I just went through that whole story kind of means that that's the kind of the one thing that I should be working on, not these other things that I was thinking about doing today. But I seem to be in this kind of cycle in general, not just today, but especially since I moved back to Salisbury from Atlanta, which is significant because in Atlanta I felt like I had a life. I felt like there were possibilities for me. Here in Salisbury, I feel like there are just no possibilities. I feel like there is no life to be had here. I feel like it is just like a dead-end road, almost like the piece of property that I'm looking to buy. It is very much like Salisbury is to Atlanta what that piece of property is to like my ideal house, I guess, my ideal situation. And that feeling of being at a dead end, feeling like I have ways out of the dead end. Like I am considering getting a job as a computer programmer, software developer, whatever you want to call it, web developer, which I can learn for free online. There are plenty of courses online that you can take to learn web development, coding. I was in the process of learning JavaScript, and I was also in the process of learning French. And maybe a month or two ago, it was about the time that I became obsessed with buying a piece of land. I kind of stopped all that. And the obsession with buying a piece of land was part of that. Not just the land, but also the bus, the van. I almost feel like I've solved my own problem here already. like one of the things I do like to do is I like to paint. I like to write poetry. I like to make music. I have not really written too many songs of my own, but I do like to play other people's songs. Uh, and Since I've moved back to Salisbury, I really haven't done any of that. I have done some. I have I did actually write one song since I came back here. I did it just for the sake of accomplishing something. It wasn't really an inspired song. It was basically a forced, contrived song. And paintings, I have not really done much painting at all. When I was first moved to Atlanta, when I was in a homeless shelter, I did more painting in the homeless shelter than I've done since I came back to Salisbury, which I think is odd because when I was in the shelter, I would say that I was in a more insecure position than I am now. Now I am in a more safe and secured position, or at least I feel that way, compared to when I was in the homeless shelter, at least. And not so much when I was out of the homeless shelter in Atlanta, but I have my own computer now. I have a nice wireless graphics tablet that I just recently bought, maybe not just bought, but maybe like 3 months ago, for painting. And I think I've used it once to do a doodle, like a sketch. And that to me kind of, I feel like something's wrong. I feel like I don't like where my head is at. I don't like the way that I feel at the moment. And the one word that I would use to describe the way I feel is I feel defeated. I feel, I don't want to say that I'm depressed. I would say that I do kind of lack motivation at the moment. I feel like like I said before, like I just don't want to do the things that I ordinarily would do. I don't paint anymore. I don't go out. I used to go out a lot, but that was mostly to drink, and trying to get away from drinking is also making me not want to go out because I don't know. I guess part of it is that would come back to the dysphoria, feeling uncomfortable around people, feeling like I can't be myself. At the moment, you see how I'm dressed with the wig and makeup. I would not want to go out like looking like this, and that is depressing. That depresses me. That makes me feel like I just can't live life, and that also kind of makes me indecisive when it comes to something like buying a piece of land, because I think with the land I'm basically just trying to escape uh, and go kind of further into hiding, because it is a secluded spot. I would probably have less interactions with people than I do now here at the shop, where most of my interactions with our other employees, because I do live where I work, and with the customers. And I think having my own place, I could just kind of be by myself and not worry about, someone seeing me with a wig and makeup on. Which, maybe if one of these hunters is out in the wood and they see me with a wig and makeup on, yeah, I don't know. But there is I don't know what exactly dysphoria is. I don't know. Someone has tried to explain to me what dysphoria is. I've read about dysphoria, but if I were, say, to try to distinguish between dysphoria and the feelings of being defeated or feelings of being depressed, I would have a very difficult time doing that. Now, some people might argue about the definition of depression, but what the word, think about what the word depressed means. Like if you depress a button on the keyboard, it just means you're pushing something down, really, is what it means. To be depressed is kind of like, in a way, being oppressed, not necessarily the same, but it just basically means to be pushed down. And that is kind of how I've felt my entire life, that I was basically like a wrestler who was pinned down to the ground. And but what is it that's pinning me down to the ground? You could say it's my lack of confidence, but I would say, where does confidence come from in that case? Do I need other people to uplift me? Do I need myself to uplift me? This was questions that I've had for a long time, because I think this is partly what led me to the idea that I was trans, was this whole thing of self-image, of constantly trying to find an image of man that I could present to the world and not worry about someone tearing it down with just a bad look. I was the kind of person, or I still am, the kind of person who, if you looked at me funny, it would ruin my entire day. If you looked at me funny, or if someone snickered as I walked by, things like that were just devastating. I mean, it was just like, I just kind of felt like I can't do it. I feel like I just can't interact with this world, because I'm constantly getting feedback that says, who I am is wrong. And that is defeating. I mean, when you feel like the world is constantly telling you that you're wrong, and it didn't even have to be, like I said, like someone actually telling me that I'm wrong. It could have just be someone showing a slight disapproval. Maybe I said something and they're like, ugh, something like that, that sort of thing. I just felt like I got too much of that. And, maybe the average person would just not see it that way. They might see it as, that's just disapproval, that's just their opinion. I don't really care about their opinion, but for me, it was, like I said, it was defeating. It was devastating. It was, it was depressing. I felt like it was pushing me down. It was a weight on my shoulders, and I have hardly gotten past that, or gotten to where I feel like I am standing up on my own 2 feet. One of the things that I like about Buddhism is they use a metaphor for describing enlightenment as standing up, which implies that prior to enlightenment, that you were not standing up, that you were crouched, slouching, sitting down, laying down, whatever you want to call it. I haven't not heard what they would describe as unenlightenment, but it's not standing up. That's what I feel like I have not done yet. I feel like I have not stood up. I'm being pushed down, but I don't know exactly what is pushing me down. I can't say that it's other people. And I say that partly because I don't really, at the moment, have that many interactions with people. I do. I mean, it's today's Sunday. Yesterday was Saturday. I have not spoken to a single person since about 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Some customers came into the shop here. My father and my brother came in to talk to them about buying a hot tub, and I did not interact with them, the customers, or my family while they were here. I was on my computer the entire time. And then once the customers left, my brother came back into the store and was like, "Hey, what's up?" And I said, "Hey, how's it going? Did you sell a hot tub?" And he's like, "We think so." And that was it. That was my interaction with another human being for the entire weekend. No, I take that back because I did call a RV campground earlier today and spoke to them on the phone. Uh, but that's the limit of my interactions with people for the weekend. Of course, the weekend's not over yet. It is Sunday. I'm not even sure what time it is. I'm not paying attention to the time. But I was just before making this video, I was on YouTube watching reactions to nature gone scary or something like that, which was people watching videos. I was watching people watch videos of scary nature things, animals going crazy on people or whatever. And as soon as I hit the play button to watch that video, I thought, this is depressing. This is how I'm spending my weekend. I do have a bus that needs to be worked on. When I say it needs to be worked on, what I mean is that I have a goal for the bus, and right now I'm not doing anything to achieve that goal. The van is the same way. The van, I don't so much have a goal. It is kind of a secondary thing. I bought it kind of just, as a security against being homeless. I don't know that I'm going to do anything with the van like I planned to do with the bus, but I am thinking about it. But the van is here. The bus is at a storage facility. So I could just very easily walk outside and go work on the van. And, like right now I'm thinking about stripping the insides out of the cargo department. Or it's not really a cargo department, it's a passenger van. But taking all the carpet out, the seats, the seat belts, these sorts of things to see what I can do as for making it a something cool. Putting shelves in it, or I don't know what. I don't know. But when I thought about doing that, I just did not feel the motivation to do it. And I went. I sat, just kind of thought about what's going on here, and I just took like an emotional inventory of myself, and what I felt was I just felt like a defeat. I felt like with my family in particular, because I am living in Salisbury because my family is here. They're the only reason that I live here. And I feel like, I don't want to say that they want to defeat me, but in a way I do feel like they want to defeat me in the sense of getting me to toe the line, of kind of beating me into submission, I guess. In a way, it is a kind of defeat. And when I say beating me into submission, I'm talking about my father mostly. The way his kind of attitudes, his constant attempts to invalidate me, these sorts of things, which is painful. I feel not only defeated by his attempts to invalidate me. I shouldn't even say it's so much his attempts to defeat me that are defeating me. It's the fact that, or the feeling in ways that of betrayal, that I can't believe my father would do this sort of thing. That is kind of defeating. It's kind of heartbreaking. I just feel like I can't believe I'm having to go through this. Like, I almost feel in a way like God doesn't want me to succeed. If God wanted me to succeed, I would have been born into a family that supports me and appreciates me and looks at me as something valuable, and they want me around. But that's part of the I think the issue too, since I've been back to Salisbury, is that I came back because my family is here, but since I've been back, all my interactions with my family are on holidays, birthdays, and family vacations, like the recent beach trip. And so far, most of those are not pleasant experiences. I don't feel welcomed. I don't feel. I don't feel. It's hard to describe the feeling because it's not. I don't want to say that it's all about me. I feel like my family dynamic is what, for lack of a better word, it is dysfunctional. I feel like there is the way the communication in the family is, in a way, something that I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's just not a emotionally available environment, not just for me, but for everybody in the family. Uh, uh, so that just kind of contributes to the feelings that almost like it's hard to explain. But it was very similar to when I was a kid and I was living in a mobile home in a out in the country, and there was a feeling that of shame around that. Like, I remember when the school bus came to pick me up for school. This was back when I was like 10 years old, maybe 9 or 10 years old. I was in third grade, and I had recently started school at a local elementary school. Because we just moved there from Charlotte, and when the bus came to pick us up, my brother and I don't remember whose idea it was, but we both went and stood on the opposite side of the street so that people wouldn't think that we lived in the mobile home, because across the street was a brick house. And I don't know if one of us had the idea, but I think both of us felt the same way, because I remember standing in front of the brick house thinking that I want people to think that I live in the brick house, not in the mobile home. And but it was the feeling that living in the mobile home was somehow a reflection of who I am as a person. That I was basically a piece of trash, and it's similar feeling when I'm in a family where I feel like there is this dysfunction. There is this kind of just emotionally arid. It's like an emotional desert almost for me, and that 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 too kind of gives me that same feeling of like when I was in that mobile home, where it just makes me feel like I was, when God put me on this earth, I was like a reject from the the soul factory. Like there's just like this soul factory where souls are produced and shipped off onto the earth, and I was like, in the pile of rejects that God is like, well, you probably just go down there and fucking waste my time and your time. And to a large part, that's what I feel like my life has been, basically a waste of time. I'm not going to say that I've wasted God's time, but I would say my life has been largely a waste. So, garbage is waste, right? Trash is waste. And that makes me just feel like, that's what I am. I'm just garbage. A piece of garbage on the side of the road. And how much of that is dysphoria? How much of that is gender dysphoria? I don't know. I don't. It's hard for me to tell the difference. Like I said, uh, I wonder too, because a lot of trans people have this. There's this narrative that I hear commonly among trans people that they always knew that they were trans, and like ever since they were a kid. I hear things like, I would go to bed dreaming that when I woke up I'd be a girl, and it was never like that for me. It was I was kind of unhappy from the very beginning. I did not know that I was trans. I knew that I was unhappy, and I mostly thought that was because of my life situations, the family situations, which I've gone over probably several times in videos, and I don't want to go over all that again. But if you had asked me when I was 10 years old why I was unhappy, I would have said, because my mother gave me up, and she didn't like me, and that's what I thought my problem was. And how much of that was actually from her giving me up, and how much of that was dysphoria, I can't say, because I don't. It is difficult. Like I said, it's difficult for me to discern the difference between dysphoria and maybe that wouldn't. Maybe being upset because my mother gave me up. Maybe that's not technically depression, but it is depressing to me. It was. I would say it affected my self-esteem without a doubt. It's like what I'm kind of getting at is like when I read about dysphoria, it's very difficult for me to say that I know what dysphoria is as an experience, because like I know what it's like to feel ugly. I know what it's like to be a handsome man, or to see myself as a handsome man, but to still feel ugly, to still feel undesirable, to feel unwanted, unlovable, and but it's not easy for me to say that I feel this way because I am seeing myself as a man and not as a woman, or that I see myself this way because of how other people treat me. That is where I have a hard time. But the one good thing in all of this is that the trans issue, the trans discovery, has kind of given me a little bit of a light. I do feel like I have a little bit of a light now. I feel like I am kind of going in the direction of self-confidence, self-esteem, and having recently started hormones, like, what was it, 2 weeks ago now? I'm not even sure. But I kind of feel like that I am going in the right direction. But I would say that I'm still kind of frustrated, defeated, and depressed. And then people might say, well, clinically you don't match the definition of depression. But my point is that I feel depressed. I feel pushed down. I feel like I just don't have motivation. I don't. I feel somewhat apathetic, lethargic, these sorts of things. And I think apathy is one of the symptoms of gender identity dysphoria. But like I said, when I feel it, I don't feel like the solution is for me to go out and be a woman. I don't feel that way. I don't see that as like, God, I wish I could be a woman, but I can't. And that's why I'm defeated. It's more like just a very vague feeling of just kind of being unlovable, of being unworthy, it's a very, like, and when I say vague, I mean that it's hard for me to describe where that comes from, what the root of all that is. If you were to ask me why are you unworthy, I would say I don't really know. I've just kind of felt that way my entire life. Uh, Actually, one of the paintings that uh, I started to sketch out recently uh, was one that popped in my head yesterday, and I actually did a quick line sketch for it, which was a picture of the second divorce that I went through. Uh, and when I say that I went through, I've never been married. I'm not talking about my own marriages. I've never been married, but my dad's second wife, when she left, uh, my dad and his first wife had two boys, myself and my brother, and he and his second wife had two boys, and we all lived together for a while in the mobile home out in the country, and I moved in with them when I was 8, and by the time I was 14, she was gone. And apparently, it had something to do with the fact that they were living in a mobile home, and we had goats and chickens, and we were living like rednecks basically. And she wanted a nice house. This is the rumor that I heard as far as why she left. She's never actually told me. And but the painting that I was that the image that popped in my head was of this kind of rift in the earth, where, like, you might see in a movie where the kind of the ground splits, but it split so that one one piece was higher than the other, and so his second wife and her two kids were up here on the higher part, and my dad and my brother and I were down on the lower part, and that was kind of in that picture. I kind of felt that worthlessness, that it was like she was leaving with her two kids because she was and her two kids were too good for us, and that was how I felt. I felt like she didn't have all the problems that we had. I mean, I had problems before I even met her. I was already trash before I met her, and so I think I may work on that painting at some point. Maybe not today. I don't know if I can find the whatever to work on it. I don't know. Right now, I don't know what I need. I feel like I need something, but I don't know what it is. That's kind of been the biggest problem of my life. That's my life story, is feeling like I need something, feeling unsatisfied, discontent, but not knowing what I need to feel content, to feel satisfied. And that contributes to the feeling of defeat. It just feels like I'm a failure because I can't even discover what I want for my own self. Like I can't even see my own self. It's like there's something wrong with me that I'm blind, which makes me feel like I'm weak, like I can't face reality, or something that like I just I don't know what that. That and just the feeling of having been beaten into submission, that in itself is depressing. And when you feel like you've been had your spirit kind of broken, uh, that is depressing. It's I mean, like, you can be sad at being sad and be angry at being angry, and it's almost like you can feel defeated at being defeated. uh, and that's kind of what I'm talking about, where just the feeling of being defeated makes me feel defeated. It's like, uh, 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 but there is, I'm asking myself, what is the way for me to stand up? What do I need to do to stand up and, you know, not feel like, for one, what other people think about me is that important. I feel like that is kind of the one thing that defeats me the most is what other people think about me and what they think. And in a lot of cases, it's not. Uh, an avoidance of negative opinions, but it's also wanting positive opinions. Uh, that I mean, it's like if you're a stand-up comic and you want applause, uh, it's almost like your own desire for applause can defeat you, if that makes sense. And I kind of feel like is that's happening with me. I feel like when I sit down to paint, a lot of times I am thinking, what can I paint that will garner praise from other people? And that in itself just makes me kind of not want to paint. It makes me feel like this is futile. Like I can't do it. Like I can't paint a masterpiece. I can't paint a painting that will make people love me. And I'm not going to say that it's impossible to do that, but it certainly feels that way. It certainly feels like there's just no point. And the whole thing of like just painting for fun uh, seems to just not be accessible in a way. It's like I just can't help but want to paint something that's going to earn me the affections of other people. And I don't know. That I feel like that is kind of where the problem is at. I mean, like when I say like I'm not going out and I'm not working on things, uh, I feel like it is because that is kind of the one thing that I want the most, I guess. Where I feel like I'm getting stuck, and that is not necessarily love from other people, but just love. And people may say that the love you're looking for comes from within, and I don't disagree with that. But at the same time, I am kind of like, what? Well, how do I do that? If loving myself means accomplishing my goals, but I have no motivation to accomplish my goals, then what do I do? Do I just need to sit and meditate? I don't know. Do I need to make videos like this? Do I need to write in my journal? These are questions that I have been kind of asking for most of my life, and I don't have a really good answer to. What I do know is that things like writing in a journal helps. I do know that meditating helps. And maybe that's just the best that I can do. Maybe it's like, investing in the stock market where you would like to have $1 million in there all at once, but you have to settle for putting in $100 at a time, and eventually you'll get to that $1 million. And I think that maybe that's kind of what I have to accept is that I'm trying to get to Mars, and I can't get there in a single day. But I don't know. That was my rant. It has been 45 minutes, almost on the dot. I'm going to stop right there.